You clicked on this video because you want to learn how to consistently increase your sales. Well, I've spent years learning and developing and mastering the skills required to make sales consistently. Because over the past about year, I've closed up to 10 4 to 5 figure sales every single month. All because I know the secrets to effortlessly influencing prospects to book and buy on calls. Therefore, I wanted to create a step-by-step guide on the most important lessons I've learned. Literally step-by-step. I'm gonna go step-by-step when it comes to building an effortless sales systems in your business. Step 0. 99% of the sale comes before the pitch. Well, what do I mean by this? Imagine this line is like the sales process. And at the end of this line, you make the sale. Well, let's say you go for the pitch right here. Well, 99% of the sale or the decision to make the sale actually comes before you pitch. Because the majority of the time, the prospect who's walking down this path of your sales process, whether they know they're doing it or not, they are taking in more information. And by the time you get to pitching them anything, dude, they've already made their decision whether they're gonna buy from you or not. So you're gonna have to create a clear system that I'm gonna show you to handle the potential objections that they're gonna face along the way. Because these are gonna emulate a few different objections that they might have. But if you can tell the right stories, and you can say the right things, and you can do the right things to make it so this person doesn't have that stuff there anymore, well, by the time they get to the pitch, they have no reason but to buy. And all of that will be done through this 4-step sales system that I've developed to make it so I booked almost 1,000 calls over the past about year and made tens of thousands of dollars through my online coaching business. And don't worry, I don't have anything to sell you, nothing to do except give you some free stuff. So think about it like this. 99% of the sale comes before the pitch. Because imagine, you're seeing all of your friends with an iPhone and you get like 20 ads for an iPhone over the course of about a couple months. Well, when you go to the store to get a new phone, you're gonna be way more likely to get this iPhone than if you never heard about it before. So that's how much the before influences the sale itself. That's why you need to focus on it much more. Instead of just looking for some fancy sales script or some new sales course that the 5th guy who's trying to pitch it to is trying to give it to you. Instead, hey, take a step back and look at actually everything comes beforehand, and your understanding of the person who you're targeting and making sure they actually see your stuff comes to be way more important than whatever you guys talk about during the pitch on the sales call. Step 1. This is going to be who, what, how, and why. What does all this mean? Well, you need to know who you target. You also need to know what problem you're going to help them solve and what transformation they're going to make. So this is the people. This is the problem you're going to solve, because fundamentally you are solving a problem in entrepreneurship. That's what your whole business is based around. Like, I'm solving the problem of no sales for you. And then how is going to be the solution. So, solution to the problem. And why is going to be, why do these people have this problem and why do they want to make a transformation from point A to point B? So this is their motivation to change. And once you understand a lot more about who you're actually targeting, you can talk to them more. And what I mean by this is you indirectly talk to people like I'm talking to you right now. It's not one-on-one, but you know I'm talking to you. And because of that, you need to be able to understand the same thing for who you want to talk to in your marketing and your content, that sort of thing. So that way you're able to actually speak to the person you want to speak to, and you're able to speak about their problems and give effective solutions. If you don't clarify each one of these, then you're not going to make the money that you want. Because here's money. You see, you're not going to make that if you don't know who you're actually targeting. So this is the biggest thing to focus on, just because imagine, you go and there's this Walmart. You drive up there, get in the parking lot, find your parking spot, and then you go and you walk in there. All of a sudden it smells terrible. It smells like sweat, and it's like, wait, what's going on? And you look around you. It's a boxing gym. Well, that's going to be pretty strange. You're probably going to turn around and walk away because you went to go to a Walmart. You didn't go to, fight somebody or whatever. And that's kind of the issue. So what you need to do is figure out how to make sure that you are not Walmart, that's actually a boxing gym. So that's the whole reason why you really need to figure this out. Now that you've figured out who you're targeting and what problem you're actually going to solve for them, as well as how you're actually going to solve it, you need to ruthlessly disqualify people. I mean, you're going to have ruthless disqualification. You have to be willing to reject money from certain types of people if they don't really fit the ideal person you want to target. Well, how do you figure that out? Well, here's an action step you can do right now. What you're going to want to write is a list. And this list is going to comprise of what ideally makes someone qualified to work with you. Well, how do you know? Ask yourself, what type of person would be easiest to work with? So, for example, in my case, I go into other businesses and I help them increase their qualified conversion throughout their conversion systems. So, ideally, and specifically this is for educational creators who are making a lot of money. Like, I've worked with guys with like millions of followers. If you know Elliot Hulse, worked with that guy. And with that being said, is then I would find businesses that have millions of followers on their social media accounts that don't really understand the conversion aspect and go in there and start implementing different strategies for them so that way they can do that. Well, you want to do something similar and start identifying a few different things. So what you're going to want to have is the type of person, probably their age, and then the certain problem that they have. They have to have a certain problem. Then also the goal. So they have to have a certain goal. If they don't want to get to the goal that you preach and that you're going to help them get to, then they're not going to get to it, so you don't want to work with them. And then also, probably the gender. It doesn't have to be. And then the occupation. Occupation can, occupation or interest, I would say, / interest, depending on what you're doing. Maybe you're a fitness coach, and that as a fitness coach, what you're doing is you're going to help these people get into better shape. Well, if they don't actually have the hobby of fitness, maybe that's a little hard. You want to have somebody who's already in the gym. They're just looking for that extra support and motivation. So these are the different things you want to create a list about. Go and do that right now. And understand, I used to beg for money. I tried to sell anyone on anything, no matter who they were, even if they weren't really that good to work with me, even if I didn't think maybe I couldn't get them results. In fact, from one of my old jobs, I used to work at a drive-in movie theater, and I knew a guy there who kind of wanted to get into YouTube. So I tried to sell him on something like, hey, I'll help you make a Discord server, which, hey, I had one at the time, and I had a few friends and clients that I knew had some as well. But still, I tried to sell even him on that. So overall, understand that being more exclusive is only going to benefit you in what you do, because then you're going to have the clarity to be able to, and the freedom of your time to be able to only work with the most qualified people, allowing you to charge higher prices. And overall, that's what made me go from $800 to $8,000 actually cash collected in my bank a month. All because I was much more exclusive with who I helped, giving me more time and making it so there was more specificity in what I did, making my name spread faster, making it so more people came to me for work. By the way, if you want to learn exactly how to apply each one of these steps to your business, just click the top link in the description and you can learn all of it for free. Next is the DM set sale process. What the DM set sale process is really comprising the 3 key components to converting people. It's DMs, so you need to find some sort of way to get people in DMs. And then you get on a setting call. So this is to qualify them, and this is to set up the sales call. And from there, you get on a sales call. So this sales call is to actually get, the sale, right? So with that being said, you're going to want in the DMs to congregate your leads to some place. You probably already have some, and maybe you tried some sort of lead magnet, maybe you try to go straight to a call. Well, I would argue that you should do DMs first, and this is what I've even personally done to book even more calls, and this also makes so you don't have to spend time on unqualified guys, come from your content or whatever. Instead, you congregate them to DMs. So maybe you could do Instagram DMs. This is what I've seen work really well for one of my clients. He actually closed $1,000 on one call, and then the next day he closed another $1,000 client or $1,000 deal because he teaches jiu-jitsu and stuff, and they came straight from his YouTube channel to his Instagram DMs. So I would recommend doing something like Instagram or something that can get people to congregate to one place into your DMs. And then from there, you ask them a few different questions. So within this process, you're going to figure out what the problem is. You're going to figure out who they are and what their goal is. And then you just position yourself using authority, so using some of the results that you've gotten before as the solution. and you're going to help them completely for free on this setting call, which you can actually position the setting call as a free coaching call. So you're just going to help them out for free. So this is just a free coaching call, or it's just a free consultation or something like that. So that way you can get a great understanding of exactly who you're talking to. And what I mean by this as well, you have to get on the setting call to set up the sales call, but this is also to give them free value. So you position it as the free coaching. Well, then what is value? So value is created when pain is alleviated, and therefore when problems are solved. So what you actually want to do in the setting call is ask more questions about their current situation and then give them some advice. So the way I would look at this is, imagine that you are going onto a trip and going to go climb a mountain. Well, when you're gonna go climb this mountain, you walk past a travel guide and she goes, yeah, you just take a left, go this way, and then you'll see the mountain, you can start climbing from there. There's a lot more different between that and getting an expert mountain climber to come with you and show you exactly what to do. Like, put your hand here, then we're going to climb like this, we're going to stop at this point, drink water, and all that stuff. Well, that's the difference between getting somebody to pay you and giving them advice on this call. So you give them that sort of advice on this call so you can tell them what to do, and you can even tell them where to go and how to do them so you can point them in the right direction. But you're not on the journey. You're not on the journey to making that progress that they're trying to make. So you're not on that journey with them. So just to make that clear. And then from there, at the end of it, what you want to use this thing that I call the interested pitch. So basically what you say is something as simple as, so John, I remember that you mentioned that you were really struggling with X, Y, and Z problem. Because remember you asked questions beforehand. Yes, you gave him some advice, but still, there's still more to solve. You know what I mean? There's more things to do. So what you're going to want to say is this thing I call the interested pitch at the end of the call. What you're going to say is, so John, I know you mentioned that you're struggling with this problem. And then of course you say the problem. So I was wondering if you'd be interested in hopping on another call to talk about this offer I have that completely solves that problem, where I'll be working with you in the future to make sure that the problem's solved, so that way you can get to X, Y, and Z desire. And of course you explain the desire. And then he said, yeah, sure. And then you book the next call on that call, and then that's where the sales call comes in. And now, by the way, throughout this entire time, you want to have a minimum of 7 to 8 points of contact. So maybe the first point of contact is going to be something like the content. So this is going to be, the content's going to be like point of contact number 1. And then number 2 might be the DMs. And then number 3, in the DMs, maybe you book the setting call. But then what you're going to want to do is still give them some resources based on their personal problems that you know they're talking about. So maybe it's a video you created, or this is a worksheet you've done. So then what you're going to do is you're going to send that to them in DMs. So that's number 3. So this is like a resource. And then what you're going to want to do is also follow up with them. So you're going to book the call, and then you're going to follow up with them, send them resources, and then follow up to make sure and confirm, and do this every day until the call. And then you're going to confirm that they're actually going to show up, as well as just ask them general questions. Whatever, for me, I might ask them, hey, how's your business going, or whatever, right? And then you're going to do that for them, or how is the progress in X, Y, and Z thing that you guys already talked about going, right? And then, or you can ask them, hey, how is that resource that I sent you? And then from there, you keep following up, and then boom, you get actually on the setting call. And then from there, after the setting call, if you learn a little bit more about them, what I would do is send them another resource. So, and direct them to the next resource. And this is after, of course, you book this sales call. Then from this resource, you continue to follow up with them. So there's more follow up, and then you get the sales call. And then now you've had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of contact before you even pitch. It's like you've already built the relationship with that person. You've already built trust with them, making it so much easier to sell. So you want to conversate with them daily and just overall, talk normally like they're a human being, because they are. Now, there's going to be certain circumstances where you're going to want to maybe push away. Maybe sometimes you get objections in the DMs, or you have people who might be saying certain things to you that, you're not not really fond of. For example, somebody might say something like, oh yeah, I don't really know if I want to get on this call. I think I might be able to do it on my own. They might say something like that. So there's going to be things that come up that people are going to say. You have to understand the difference between certain things. So fundamentally, you're going to have to understand pushing or pulling. So imagine this is the prospect, right? They're right there. And they're either going to push towards you or pull away from you. So you're right here. So then you have to make a decision. Are you going to push towards them, or are you going to pull away? Well, pulling away just looks like not really caring. You're not trying that hard, but you don't want to do it too much because then they're just not going to book another call with you. But at the same time, you also don't want to push too much because then you seem too pushy, needy, and greedy. So then you have to look at, well, in what circumstances do you push? In what circumstances do you pull? The best way to figure that out is by looking at what's called the AIM framework. And why is that? That's because what you want to do is acknowledge, ignore, and move on, right? So what you're going to just do is match their energy. So what I mean by this is that if they are pulling away, you pull away too, because then they have to start chasing you. So for example, if they say, yeah, I'm just not sure, I feel like I might be able to do this on my own. Want to know what you then say there? You could be like, yeah, you're probably right. You definitely could do this on your own. With that in mind, I know we talked about you were looking for a clear solution to being able to lose more weight. Could you tell me a little bit more about how is that affecting you right now? And notice I just asked another question. It's because you move on with the rest of the sales process by asking another question, which is the next part of the sales process that you're in. That's how you're moving on. So that's what you're going to do to move on. That's how you're going to utilize this framework so that way you can fundamentally understand what they're doing. So always just match the energy of the prospect and you do it through that framework. Now, with that being said, almost all that will actually be solved by genuinely helping rather than selling. Step number 4 is stop selling and start helping. So you're selling right now. You want to stop doing that, or at least what conventionally people think that selling really is. Because in fact, selling's maybe not what you think. You might think that selling is just convincing someone to buy your thing. However, sales is actually helping your prospect convince themselves to sell themselves on your solution to the problem they have. Meaning, you're going to also then have to know their problems, ask questions to dig deeper. Say, so John, how is that really affecting you right now? And then as you do that, you're going to get a great understanding of who they are. And overall, you want to genuinely be helping them rather than just pushing to sell your own product. And that's how it's going to solve the problem we talked about earlier, which is kind of that, do you push or do you pull away? Well, if you're genuinely trying to help somebody, then you spend time thinking about where are they at? And you think about that by getting context of where are they? Meaning you know their problem so well because you talked with them about it instead of just saying, hey, buy my thing, here's a bunch of different features for it, and you get one-on-one calls and you get whatever else that you might be giving them. Done for you support, do this with you, a bunch of other things. That's cool and all, but it doesn't matter if you're not speaking to them. They need to feel like they're actually being listened to and that you actually care. Because when you can articulate someone's problems better than they can, they will assume you have the solution because you probably do. So overall, you want to spend time coaching them. What I mean by that, think about this like this. Coaching is fundamentally inspiring confidence in somebody to act in a specific direction. Well, if you can inspire confidence in somebody to act in the direction and make the decision, because you have to decide something to act in that way, then to make the decision to buy from you. Well, you do this through understanding sales fundamentally is leveraging your prospects' beliefs and wants in order to get them to sell themselves in your solution. So what you're going to do is that's why you're going to do this coaching, because then you're thinking about it like you're coaching them to the right decision rather than just trying to sell them whatever you're trying to sell them at the moment. So overall, think about it like you're a lighthouse. You're showing the way. Don't tell them, show them the way. And the way you can show them the way is by indirectly pointing things out. So for example, maybe you're at the point, you haven't pitched yet, but then you're getting to the point and you're kind of asking them a little bit more about where they want to be. And then they can say, I don't really know if this is something I really want to do. Well, maybe they actually do. Maybe that's just a limiting belief. So then what you can say is something like, so John, I remember you mentioned that this is something that you really feel like is just negatively affecting your life. Well, could you tell me a little bit more about how that is? And then when you say that, then they start thinking, okay, well, yeah, this was, and I did say that, and then they start actually giving an answer. And then by you doing that, it allows you to then handle these objections and get them to speak that themselves rather than just you telling them the answer. So overall, understand that you want to help them and not just sell. So right now, are you irregularly closing sales and want to consistently increase your income? Does that almost make making money feel random, like you have no control over it? Well, it's not entirely your fault, because I've seen a lot of these influencers out there honestly are hiding how to actually win and make more money from you. They want to be at the top and they don't want you to be there. They just want to be able to profit off of your ignorance by you buying from them. Therefore, I actually created a free private community where I'll teach you exactly how to develop a clear sales system through implementing everything in this video with you. In fact, all the guys inside of the community actually have exclusive access to all these methods and implementation with me if they want, that help. And they are using these to kill your business. For example, a lot of my clients and a lot of the people inside of that free community are booking calls consistently, making thousands of dollars a day. Now click the top link in the description to join the community and get access to methods you need to have in order to 10x your sales. Go join now. Seriously, take the first step to changing your life. Imagine what consistently and effortlessly closing new clients would do for you. Or don't, and be like everyone else who doesn't really take action and stays in this perpetual cycle of inconsistent income in sales because they're not willing to change. The choice is yours, but I think we both know which is the right one.